Graduating students from the Honors Studio course have been busy creating pieces for the Brock University Department of Visual Arts Honors exhibition.
This exhibition that you're seeing here today is an accumulation of an intensive kind of work period over the past 8 months for these students. And it's really a celebration of their creativity and a 4-year journey through a BA honors program to arrive at this point. And it's a evolution and a development and a kind of finalized kind of perspective of what interests them as young artists.
The exhibition, entitled Turning This Car Around, explores broad cultural themes.
Turning this car around, when I think about it, it reminds me of just the vastness of art and how art can really talk about every facet of humanity. We do have students, artists, really talking about a lot of things that affect us as humans, so both positively and negatively.
Students began working on their pieces for the final show in September.
I was really focusing on talking about the materiality of body and body as matter, as a complex mass, and just focusing on those sorts of things. I'm mostly inspired by things of everyday life, so materials around me, nature, and I grew up knitting and crocheting. My grandmother taught me when I was young, so that was a big inspiration for my piece.
I've always been leaning more into a bit of a surveillance voyeuristic lens in my art. Everything kind of started out a little accidentally. It was very fluid. I was just people watching, and I was on Clifton Hill at my job, and I was just people watching, looking at tourists, trying to find a commonality within everyone, taking photos of them, and I started to notice there was a lot of bald men, and just from there, snowballed into me going into malls, looking at men, and kind of examining my perception of masculinity as it relates to my own worldview.
There's no limit to the pluralistic nature of the show that we have here today. So the students were really digging into a lot of different topics and trying to wrestle with kind of uncovering some sort of answer, right? And a lot of questions that they have aren't answered yet, because being an artist is a process that evolves over decades.
This work is a glimpse into the positives and negatives of my own life that make up my life, and embracing both of them and valuing them rather than just focusing on the positives in my life. I felt I wasn't exactly expressing how I felt. I was kind of covering up what I was actually feeling. So rather than showing just the pretty good side of things, I wanted to share the deeper, darker things that I actually am going through. Traditionally was a painter, painting darker images, but I had a shift kind of in my own mind of taking a more positive outlook on my own life and wanting to share that, but also sharing how I got to that point.
I've been living in the same house for the past 23 years, and I noticed over the years that they've been watching me grow up, and I wanted to turn the lens onto them and look at their lives. I decided to make my own botanical inks from the plants and different matter around the neighborhood. I chose to keep everything that is man-made with the botanical inks, and because I'm not sure about the longevity, and turn the nature portions into more acrylic matter so it can, read for longer.
Turning This Car Around will be on display at the Rodman Hall Art Center until April 29th. In St. Catharines, you're watching The Source.